Hey everyone, it's Mike with Born to Cruise. I'm here today to give you some wonderful information, hopefully some tips and tricks, and hopefully to remind you to have an awesome and amazing day on this Sunday as we start the week. All right, now my name is Michael Merritt. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. If you look back through a lot of my old videos, the channel used to be called Born to Succeed. I am a motivational speaker, life coach, all that good stuff, but I'm also a 30-year paramedic that loves to travel and didn't get to a lot back in the day. And I want to travel more and more throughout my life because there's a lot of beautiful things to see. But I did go on a cruise back in July, and it spurred me tremendously, guys. And that's what spurred this channel. I now have this zest and zeal to cruise and to give everybody out there lots of information. Maybe you have some misnomers. Maybe you have some things that you didn't know about a cruise. Maybe you've been on cruises before, and we just want to help you have a better cruise because, you know, whenever you have the facts and you know things to bring, what to pack, what not to pack, it really does make a huge difference. Now, that being said, thank you for joining us. And if you do like what we put here on the channel, I'm trying to grow this channel so that I make a bigger impact out there. So if you would like this video to begin with, and then subscribe to the channel. That's how, of course, this works. And you know, with YouTube, the analytics and all that good stuff, the more people that like and subscribe, then we get out there and we reach the masses on a greater level. All right, so to start with, I got a lot of information here for you. Hurricane alerts. You know, there's a hurricane out there in the Gulf and it's flying towards the Tampa area and across Florida. So, you know, that's one thing to look at right now. If you have any kind of cruises scheduled towards that, you need to be looking at your schedule and seeing what's going to happen with those. And definitely, if you're in those areas, you need to be looking at what you need to do to protect yourself, right? Because it does look like it's going to kind of fly through the Gulf and kind of hit right through that center part right there, Tampa, and going across Florida. At the very top of my page here, I have down to remind you guys out there, in case you didn't know, when it comes to hurricane months, especially in the cruising industry, there's a great acronym for that, and it is called JASON. And that's July, August, September, October, and November. JASON months, the JASON months. So stuff does well up out there. And so, of course, those are always the months, if you're planning cruises, to kind of, you know, take that into consideration when you're planning a cruise during those months, which, of course, you should always have travel insurance, right? Travel insurance isn't just because you want, hey, to have it if the cruise gets canceled or something like that, right? But it also covers you in place of, you know, you're out at port and something happens to you. You know, if you're off and about somewhere, you're really kind of in a third country, you need travel insurance. You really do. So not only for if this trip is getting canceled, whatever, but it's also for your own health and well-being out there. Always have travel insurance, right? Now, right below that, the Villa V Odyssey. If you know anything about this ship, this is the ship that's going to be doing the worldwide, taking off for a long time. They've had trouble for a long time. They are now sailing. So if you've not been familiar with the Villa V Odyssey, check that out. It's a great thing for those folks that have joined on to do the worldwide cruise. And a lot of them sold all their belongings, and some of them are doing YouTube vlogs and Instagram vlogs, things like that. So check it out, the Villa V Odyssey. Now, the second thing on my list is a couple things from Carnival. I cruised Carnival back in July, and I know a lot of people cruise a lot of different ships. I haven't had the luxury yet to cruise with Royal or Norwegian or MSC or Disney, or so, you know, as I have the ability to cruise those lines in the future, I will do more about those. But right now I've cruised the Carnival Dream back in July, which again, I will be cruising in December. I did get a wonderful offer from Carnival and cruising back in July. I got some great offers when I came home and immediately booked a 6-day trip in December to go to Costa Maya, Belize, and Cozumel. And so we're looking very forward to that. I'm just about 2 months away from that, guys. So, but here's some stuff from Carnival. Carnival says right now, hey, if you're booking 2025, you better do it quick, because 50%, guys, of all ships, all bookings have already been made. That's a gigantic number when you think about that, to say that 50% of all of the cruise ships and all of the rooms are already booked. So I don't know about you, I'm behind the curve on 25. So if you're getting after 25 and you want to book some cruises, I highly advise you to do it pretty quick, because, well, evidently 50% is already booked up. Now, speaking of Carnival, obviously they have a lot of holdings. Carnival's a gigantic, conglomerate out there, and they have a lot of crews under ships and lines underneath them, Princess and others as well, right? And Carnival said, hey, Q3 they made some good money. They netted, not just gross, they netted 1.6 billion profit wise. So that's pretty good for Carnival, saying that they're making some money. Also, Carnival announced that in 2026, they're going to have 4 ships that are going to be going to Australia. So if you've been thinking about going to Australia, had that bug before and thought, you know what, I really do want to cruise over there, Carnival's going to be offering 26. I think those are actually for sale right now, if I'm not mistaken, that is up and running. So if you're looking at book 2026, get it going. There you go. You can go to Australia on Carnival. All right. Royal Caribbean did have a salmonella outbreak, and a lot of folks got sick. The number ended up being a little over 3% of the ship, about 3.5% of the ship. Anytime it's more than 3% of the ship gets affected by anything, whether it's illness, whether it's a stomach illness or something along those lines, they end up having to be reported, anything more than 3%. And a Royal Caribbean ship did have that happen. And so it had a salmonella outbreak. And so it's just something to keep in mind. This things happen whenever we're on ships. Most of the time, that's why we remind you of good hygiene. This is more related to food. So, when it comes to it, you never know. But hey, they obviously do a very great job. Whenever there's 10,000 people on board and a few hundred get sick with something, obviously it wasn't that big a thing. But again, anytime it's above 3%, it does get reported, all right? Norwegian Cruise Lines, they announced there's no more a la carte prices on their specialty dining. Now you will have a price depending on the restaurant that you go to. It'll be $40, $50, or $60, depending on the 3 different subcategories of restaurants that they have. So no more a la carte pricing on their specialty dining. That's the way they're doing it. Next, Juneau, Alaska says no to the ban, if you've been following that at all. Residents of Juneau, Alaska kind of brought forward a process of saying, hey, we want to ban cruise ships from coming on Saturdays. We also want to ban them from coming on certain holidays, because we just feel like that they are coming all the time and inundating our town. And, well, when it came down to it, 61% to 39%, the ban was no. We're not going to ban Carnival ships. It creates a lot of business for us, and we like them coming to Juneau. So when it comes down to it, hey, the ban has not been put on. If you're looking to go to Juneau, go to Juneau. It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful. I've not been myself, but I look forward to doing that in the future. The longshoremen strike. They were striking. Apparently that was not going to affect the cruise industry from what we heard. But of course that's a gigantic thing. But what we just now are hearing in the last day or so is that they have come to an agreement, something along the lines of a 63% raise over the next 6 years for those longshoremen, to compensate for what those guys and gals feel like they're really missing out on out there, all right? So when it comes to that, if you've been following that at all and worrying about if you're cruising in the future and if that's going to affect you, hopefully that won't affect us on any level, especially with Christmas and things coming around, because obviously whenever you get stuff at ports, well, it creates a major backup, no doubt about it, and we create a problem in the chain. So that being said, on a lighter note, Carnival, Mr. John Hild is, I think, how you pronounce his name. Mr. John announced the other day, was putting off something here, saying about a situation he was written about. Now, if you know Mr. John, he actually invites people to write to him and say, hey, if you got a problem, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. Reach out and send me something if you have something. And somebody reached out to him the other day and said they were really upset that they could not find gum at any of the shops, being candy shops and all those things that are on those ships, but there was no gum. And they said that they chew gum and came up with all these reasons why they chew gum, but they were really upset that they didn't carry gum and felt like John should make sure that Carnival ships have gum on them. I mean, hey, if you're going to have the candy shop, why would you not have gum? And John plain and simple says, hey, if you want gum, nobody's saying that you can't bring that on board. But what he is saying is that they don't sell it, because gum equals messes. Unfortunately, as we know, people do what? They stick it under a table. They'll drop it on the ground if they spit it out. And if you've been like me and stepped on gum before, you're like, really? Man, just put it in the trash. And so Mr. John says, you know what? You can bring your gum on board, but we're not selling gum, because it just, it just creates a mess. It just really does. And so we're not even going to invite that mess on. There you go, on a lighter note. No gum. You can bring it, but we're not selling it on Carnival. Right down below that, the Icon of the Seas, Royal Caribbean Icon of the Seas, is now back up and sailing. Their 9/28 trip was canceled, but whatever problems they had due to propulsion or whatever unknown, because it wasn't reported, evidently that's been fixed and they're up and running. And so the Icon of the Seas, which is a fairly new ship, launched like January of 2023, $2 billion ship, and they've had a few problems with electrical things. They had some power outages, and I think they had something with this one going on, but reportedly at one point it was propulsion, but at this point they're not saying what it is. So hey, whatever it is has been fixed and they're up and running, and the Icon of the Seas is running. So if you are on that ship and have a cruise coming up, hey man, she's ready to go. But again, the 9/28 trip was canceled, so just letting you know, if you were coming up with one, she's good to go. The CEO, Royal Caribbean, Jason Liberty, he's out there as well as John Hield. So if you have things, you can send something to him. And then lastly, I have down here just the last thing on a couple of things. Formal nights. How do you feel about formal nights? You know, some people say with formal night, it needs to be dressed up to the hilt. Here you go. A lot of cruise lines have backed that down through the years and say, you can wear whatever you want. If you want to make it formal and dress up and do whatever, great. But we're not requiring anything, right? And not too long ago, one of the cruise lines, there was a guy on a cruise, and he absolutely said that his night was ruined because he was dressed up on formal night like you should be, and the guy next to him was wearing blue jeans with holes in them. And that was just offensive to him. And you know, what are you going to do? People have their own right to wear whatever. I mean, and if this ruins your cruise, man, I'm sorry, but we have to look at factors, things in our lives that we can control, and one of those is what we can wear, and my attitude and how I act towards others and things like that. But I can't control others, and I can't control how they act, and I can't control what they wear. And so for you to get upset over that, I just don't think that's something that I'm going to waste my time with. But hey, to each their own. But Carnival and others have said, hey, when it comes to formal night, if you want to wear slacks, you want to wear jeans, you can wear whatever you want. They're not going to enforce a policy onto you saying, hey, you have to wear a tie, you have to wear this. Obviously for formal night, some people love to dress up, but what I hear nowadays, most people wear slacks and a shirt. Guys wear a button-up shirt, and there's no ties and jackets and this, that, and the other. And hey, if you want to wear whatever. I do agree that you should not be probably in there in a bathing suit. I mean, obviously, riding with the cover up on in a bathing suit, we're like, here it is, it's formal night. I got you there, but what I do say is you should be able to wear whatever you want within reason. So, that being said, my name is Michael Merritt. This is all I got for today. I hope you have an awesome and amazing day, awesome and amazing week. This is Born to Cruise. I am going to continue to bring videos to you on tips and tricks and what to pack and what not to pack and things about ports and news. It's all about you cruising. All right. Now, I'm going to bring some travel stuff on here as well because I'm also a travel agent. So I'm going to talk about other kinds of travel on here, so don't be surprised by that. But my favorite thing is cruising. So with that being said, I hope you have an awesome and amazing day. Please like, please subscribe, please spread the word about this channel, because the only way we're going to impact more people is to have you spread the word about us. So have an awesome day. Until next time, hey man, we are born to cruise. Blessings.